And we have returned. Why is this no longer fitted in the right thing?
She said.
Yeah.
Why does this do this? Whatever. So, we're back for Allies of Justice, week 33. As we enter back into the game, the rain has started to pick up. Akko, as you've spent time trying to force your way not to look at the ruins that would have been Kite's body. But as the time continued to pass, eventually you steel yourself. As you turn, begin to look what combat has sowed. Seeing her frame, she looks to be broken. Her eyes still open, looking upwards towards the location you were last when you were fighting next to her. And the eyes that seem to be so lightful, so full of compassion for you, slowly starting to dim with the setting sun. Because I muted, you piece of shit. Your mic is still not muted, Anthony.
Whoops.
Thank you for ruining that moment. Well, it breaks a bit of the tension, at least. So, Zaku gets a closer look at the aftermath. He will gently use one of his hands to close Kite's eyes. He mutters heartfelt, though very small, "I'm sorry." He's speechless. He simply considers how to give her a proper burial, if there is any way to do that in the plains.
You start to look around, seeing the gore of the creature behind you and tall grass surrounding you. You don't seem to sense or see any mounds of open earth or anything of the sort. So you kind of just sit there thinking, like, where would be a good place? What would she want to be buried as? All these questions that seem to bombard you more and more of things that you never had a chance to ask her while she was still alive.
He'd simply try to find some place that he could dig out. Hopefully digging out enough for him to move her remains, as well as to be able to cover it so that no creatures come and disturb her.
So as you put your axe down to the side, you get down on your knees as you start to work through the labor of picking out the grass, scooping your hands and breaking the earth. As you start to do this on your own. As the time goes by, just thoughts in your head seem to berate you with anger, guilt, but overall, an omnipresent pounding in your chest that you seemingly can't find or be able to settle.
So, how long will it take for him to finish digging out this?
Make a strength check.
Oh boy.
Take you about an hour. You dig a deep enough hole that you're content with.
So he'd eventually move Kite's remains as well as most of her, well, what she was carrying with her, onto the hole in the ground. He'd she will be carrying a pack, right? Like with her.
She was only carrying a small satchel with her.
He'd take that with him for now.
As you put her into the hole, you look down. Grief starting to catch you once again as you look at her closed eyes, but broken form. Her once flickering tail, now a limp mess. Scales seemingly over her body being removed. Deep gash marks that seem to be stained with purplish red dried blood from the impact of the large fangs digging into her ribcage. The longer you seem to wait and look at this, the angrier you seem to get.
Not being able to bear the sight, and not being able to think of anything else, given how little they had talked about a situation like this, Echo started the process of burying Kite. Eventually, he'd try and move rocks from the area if he could find any, just to make sure that both where she is marked in some form, but also that no creatures will disturb her.
So as you take each hand scoop, this labor already seeming to cut and leave marks bloodied on your hand from digging a hole. Each scoop seems to yell a phrase in your head. How could this happen? You toss it into the hole, take another scoop. Why did I let this happen? You take another scoop. Why couldn't I stop this from happening? As it starts to get more toxic and more angry with each thought.
He'd eventually react harshly towards those words, screaming at nothing for it to shut up. Looks around thinking, am I hearing it from somebody else? But he's all alone.
And as you start to look for rocks, placing one by one the memories of the last few moments in the fight seem to imprint into your mind with each setting stone. As you put the last one there, a small mound of rock over what would be a unmarked grave. This is their fault, you know.
He'd think on those words, closing his eyes for a moment, but he'd eventually just let it be. Akko will check over his things, looking for something that he can use to mark the grave in some manner. The only things that he could really leave are weapons that he has on. He'd take a bronze hammer that he had with him and put it close by in the grave.
As you place it there and look at it, you pause and continue to see the work that you've made. As a voice that sounds eerily similar to your own speaks again. If I could have stopped them before, this would have never happened.
So he hears that voice and just thinks again. Shut up. What we could have done no longer matters.
But what if it does?
So he looks around again, thinking at first it's some sort of trick, like what's happened with Had said before. Thinking maybe there's some witch saying these things in his head. And slowly comes to terms with the fact that whether it is or isn't, the voice has a point.
We've always been too easy on the people that we disliked. Letting them take advantage of our better nature. We were even about to let that beast live.
Neko looks over to the creature and he asks aloud, "What did we solve with killing it either?"
That our soft-hearted nature solves nothing.
Ruthlessness doesn't solve anything either.
Ruthlessness would have stopped us digging this grave.
He'd shake his head. He's got nothing else to say to the boys, whatever it is. I'll go and do what I can moving forward. That's all I can do. That's all I ever do.
What if there's more that we can do?
We're not doing it alone.
Yet here we are. We are alone. We're alone and we're trying to figure out other things to blame for our own thoughts.
He grit his teeth for a moment, simply picking up both his things as well as Kite's and trying to move on.
When we can't find an answer, the first thing we always try to do is leave.
So as Akko is moving away, on the way there's of course still the carcass of the Chimera. He'd also see the snake's head, well, what is left of the body of the snake cut off. He'd think for a moment before trying to see whether he can carry that with him for now. A reminder of what's happened.
As you pick up the head and look at it,
Is it still alive, even? Could it be?
as you look at it, it's actually squirming slightly. Kill it.
He's got it in his hand. The creature's not going to survive regardless.
But it shouldn't survive by our hands. Not crows. It left our only shiver of happiness in a grave.
Takes a moment before Rako lets it go. He says, I've listened to you before. You made me waste 6 years of my life. I'm not going down that path anymore.
We've always been on that path. It's the only path for us.
It's a lie. You know it. I know it.
If it's a lie, then there would be another one of us to tell us differently. We're all that's here, Akko.
He just tried to ignore the boys again. Leaving the planes on the route that Kite was leading him towards the town. This is too far away to try and connect to the others. Perhaps in the town, at least the sound of people will keep the boys quiet for a while.
You'd hear like a soft chuckle in your head. Though we never seem to stop being stubborn, do we? Maybe it's because we never had the right incentive.
Just keep quiet.
Accept yourself, Akko.
You are not me.
No. I am the you that could bring her back.
Those words seem to stop him for a moment. But he immediately doubts. Just continues moving.
You know very true. In your heart. That your dad's blood runs in you. And me. We could fix this.
He'd look back for a moment towards the grave. No. We'd only make this worse.
Taking that girl from her loved one made it worse. We can bring her back.
I've heard of tales like these before. I know damn well where these leads. I am not going to consider it. He says that with conviction, and yet Echo's hands tremble. It's taking every bit of fiber in his being to not just give in and listen.
Then why don't we prove it wrong? We don't have to be those stories. We know better. We're smarter than the idiots that fail in them.
No, we're not. We really are not. The only thing I know are axes.
You know a lot more than that. You just don't accept it.
So as the steps continue, each step feels heavier than the last. Seems to continue having this conversation with who he can only assume really is himself in some form. He says, some things are best left forgotten. Whatever you are.
So we'll forget saving her. Our final act of our own stubbornness.
I don't know what you want me to do, but I know it will not end well if I listen.
Accept what's inside you, Akko. Accept the power that courses in your blood. Accept yourself.
He's still traveling in the plains, correct? There are no trees or anything nearby him. Alright. He just closed his eyes for a moment, breathe, and like a mantra, he'd suddenly start repeating over and over. I am Akko Denai, son of Mirnok Denai, and I am nothing more than a half-orc. Continually repeating that over and over, hoping in some form to drown out the voice.
You are nothing but a fool. Take each step, knowing that you'd condemned the life of the person that you wanted to love. It's around this time the voice that sounds like you stops sounding identical to you.
What? And just continue hurting others for my own greedy self?
No. To see that she lives. I sensed your anger, your hatred, your self-pity. There are many that are like you. And as much as you think you'll change the world is a big place. Akko Deny, son of Minok.
What are you?
I am your only option.
He'd look forward the rest of the road. And he'd keep moving. Something to him just... No. No.
Then she will stay with me.
What do you mean?
Ask your priest. Walk the road you've chosen, half-orc.
My priest.
She don't hear anything.
He'd look around, still trying to find any sign of some form of presence.
You only sense yourself. And looking around, you look back to the empty patch.
He's torn between trying to rush back to the grave or move forward. When he thinks back to the words, "She'll stay with me," and he goes to check that the grave has not been disturbed as he moved away.
As you run back to the grave, on the outside it doesn't seem to be disturbed whatsoever.
He tried to dig in. He tried to open the grave momentarily.
As you take the time to just quickly rush in, feeling a little worried at first, which puts more speed in your step, you start digging until you finally break the layer of ground that's covering her body. As you gingerly sweep it off of her face, looking up to you is Kite, but as if she aged by hundreds of years.
What has it done?
The only thing that you hear is the sound of rain falling around you and the wet ground.
He'd return everything back to normal. continue moving.
As you do so, putting the dirt back, now slowly turning to mud, as you put back each rock, you look at your hand that still seems to be trembling.
I don't know what you are, but I will find you.
Good.
You try to make a mental note of everything that's happened for now. Just ask your priest. Could his voice know the rest? He's not sure. But he has to move on anyhow. There's no time to waste anymore.
As you finally turn, leaving the grave behind, your fists clenched, and your identity intact, you start to move forward towards the town. Looking down to your left hand that for the last couple of hours was interlocked with her, as you squeeze onto it tight to the point that blood begins to drip, and continue running forward. Meanwhile, back at camp,
Yes.
you guys make it just out into seeing the camp in the distance. As you give it a wave, Crystal finally turning and seeing everyone, including Sharktooth, making their approach. Granted, some of them looking worse for wear. And overall, it looks like they got into what could have been a really deadly encounter.
She immediately runs over and gives Naomi a hug and looks over her and makes sure she's alright before looking over to the others. Are you all alright? What happened?
Something's wrong with Adsay.
He's tired. We still need to look into some things. You should probably help.
She'll turn to Adsay and give him a look over. Do I need to roll something for that, or can I just a spot, a search? What would I need? Or stabilize?
You would need a search to look him over, if there's anything in particular, because there's multiple wounds on him.
I'll roll stabilize then, just see if there's anything medical I need
Wasn't
to...
he healed by his staff?
By a staff, yeah, that's not the same thing.
I know, but physically it would all.
Oh, then no, he wouldn't have wounds on him. Then.
Yeah, that's why.
Okay. But still, since he's knocked out, I want to see if there's anything medical I need. So a stabilize would be what I need to roll, right?
Well, it depends on what's wrong. Stabilize would be just physical. You see what's wrong with him. If you're trying to see what's wrong with him mentally or reason why he's unconscious, you would need a lot more than just stabilize.
Okay. What would I need? Something
Advanced
I don't have?
skills.
Cool.
Probably your bet would be search,
Alright.
followed by a stabilize to fix it.
As you look around him, you don't see anything wrong with him.
If you let me put him down, I can do what I can for him myself. At least try to figure more out about what's wrong. I think I may have an idea, but I need to actually think about it.
Okay.
So you would go over the cart to where you put down like Akka's father ages before to go put another unconscious person there.
Isn't he awake now?
Not
Yes.
the veteran knows.
As you move over, you don't see him there.
Where's Echo's dad gone?
He woke up not too long ago, but I know exactly where he went.
You yourself, Jesus Christ.
As you think back, you notice that he went back to the cart with Farah to lay down somewhere a lot more comfortable instead of just on the ground.
I believe he and Farah went into a cart so that they could lay down somewhere more comfortable.
I'll go say hi to him in a moment. Of course, I need to sort this out first. So, place down, I'd say, and I'll have a proper look at that tattoo, and I'll think more about magically shenanigans. So, about that being bigger.
As far as you know, magical scars are things that can happen if someone's messing with Helix magic. Normally, someone that's going into a route of things they don't understand, but
Right.
they don't just appear as foxes or anything like that, so that's weird.
Yeah, they're not anything as like specific as well, gotta be honest, this is out my league. I think he just kinda needs bed rest, you know?
What exactly happened before he passed out?
He made use of some kind of weird magic. Or something. You ever heard him talk about like his mother, like weird spirit mother thing?
I don't believe I have I? Have you ever talked
I don't
to
know,
me
that's
about-
something you need to keep track of.
I don't think so.
And it's kind of hard to explain and probably shouldn't be explaining it. That's for him to tell you.
Alright.
Well, I'm gonna go see you. Go say hi to Echo's dad. I mean, keep an eye on him, make sure he doesn't start like, I don't know, choking or something, but he should be good.
She'll give you a nod.
And Veteran's gonna go walk off. Go try to find Echo's dad. Say hi.
As you are going to the tent, meanwhile,
Tent?
Anthony, or car, whatever,
Yes.
you move over to the Garnox, who's currently on its side, breathing in deep breaths, and then breathing out raspy, like, comes out raspy, so obviously something is wrong with its breathing pathways.
Was it raspy before?
Not this bad, but yes it was.
Okay. We'll make sure we get inside of it, or in front of it, make sure it knows I'm there. As I'll begin to kind of brush on its horn, giving it more of a physical to see how well it's doing.
So, go ahead and... no real check, dude. As you put the mint leaves into its mouth and slowly start to work it so it eats it down. It's so weak that you have to actually, like, manually force it to chew. But after doing so for a while, after ingesting everything you brought, you kind of just look at it and simply hope that what you did was enough to help it with what was wrong with it.
And I'm going to give it some water, too. It's been sitting there for a while. So will it consume?
It doesn't stop you.
Do I know how much it normally would drink?
More than what your water skin would give.
Okay. Well, I'll give it that, and then there's not any nearby water, is there?
No. Not in the forest. Not that you see, at least.
No, that'll have to do for now. I give it the water. I give it another. I rub its horn a little bit more. I'll tell it, get better. I'm sorry. As I go to leave and go to check up on where Adze was.
Crystal, you're kind of just standing over Adze as he's laid next to the fire, looking over him. Naomi,
I'll
hovering
have his head in my lap.
with his head in her lap. As Yaji starts to make an approach.
How's he doing?
He's doing all right for now. Can't really find any much wrong with him.
What did Vedran say about him?
He just said that he must have been tired, and I'll just have to assume that was true. What happened?
Overall, or with Hadze?
Overall, you guys were gone for a very long time.
May have gotten captured by a few of the lizard people.
She'll... Her eyes will widen. You got captured? How?
Well, originally when I came up, I was surrounded. So, I just let them take me. I couldn't fight my way out of it. But I did manage to meet their leader.
How'd that go?
It went good, I think. They seem to follow. They seem to follow a deity that's similar to mine.
She'd nod.
But
Did you all have to fight them? Is that why you all look worse for wear?
Oh, yeah. We had to run away.
Well, I'm glad you're all okay. You don't look too injured, so I'm assuming the staff I gave you came into use.
It did.
I'm glad.
she seems to be a lot better at the staff than you.
She'd turn and glare at you.
I'm not better than
what
Crystal at all.
What makes you say that, Yashi?
I mean, he's still covered in blood from earlier, but still has no wounds. It's well, I seem to be doing fine.
I mean, I have no problem if she is. Having more than one healer is usually a good thing. Then she would just turn back to Adze and Naomi.
There was a really big lizard guy. We had to
What
fight
happened
him.
Oh. How'd that go?
It went okay. Adze may have had a little trouble shooting him, and he did also grab me, but he couldn't aim either.
Are you alright?
Yeah, I just skinned my knees when he dropped me at one point. That's it.
Well, I'm glad that you all seem to have it under control. I was very worried when you guys took so long. That's why I eventually had this in Sharptooth.
He seemed very happy about that.
Yeah, he did. Him and I had a short conversation, and he seemed I'm starting to really like him. He's a good person.
He seems to care a lot for Akko.
Yeah. Rocco's a really nice guy, so who wouldn't?
Right?
But you guys saw Sharptooth full form, right?
Yeah,
That was weird.
I was rather intrigued by it.
It was kind of cool, but the way he shifted, it was a little strange.
He said it hurt, but
Aw.
just so you know, if he stays in there too long, he'll be that way forever.
Oh. Well, that's no good.
Just in case, so we don't, accidentally keep him that way.
So as the scene kind of sombers off, Veteran,
Yeah.
as you're making your approach, you'll watch as a frantic-looking Farah kind of just like bumps into you as she's making her way out.
You alright?
She looks to you, blinks, and then like grabs hold of you and starts pointing inside.
You want me to go check it out?
She nods.
Alright then. You'd go inside.
And as you do, you see Mirnock currently on a small cot where Farah would normally sleep, currently grabbing for his wrist as he's wrenching in pain, but holding any screams or yells, probably due to heavy military training of its own right.
Yeah, we'd go in there. What's going on?
And as you go in and try to get a look to figure out what's wrong, you see his arm.
Yeah.
As there's this inky black looking mark currently writhing as if there's worms underneath it on his skin as he's gripping underneath his like right above his elbow really tightly to the point you can see his like white skin begin to turn red from like holding in with all the pressure.
Right. Is this bad magic stuff?
This looks like bad magic stuff as far as you can tell.
Farah, go get Naomi and Crystal.
She nods as she runs out.
And as she runs out. You still conscious? You respond at all?
Cut off circulation!
Not sure what you want me here to do.
Cut off my As he seems to be struggling even harder, this mark looking like it's growing and slowly trying to move down his arm.
You want me to strangle you? Alright, so where's the thing?
Currently moving down his forearm and going close to his bicep where he's trying to hold it with all his strength, but you only got what he said so far.
Fuck it, alright. And yeah, he's gonna attempt to put as much pressure, just a little bit below it.
Roll a strength check. You have size modifiers.
Oh boy. I'll just add it straight into the roll. Yeah.
So as you go over to him while he's writhing and trying to hold on to his arm, trying to cut off his own circulation, you bring your arms down as your hands reach underneath his elbow and just squeeze tight as he gets off like a ah! As you hear like a slight pop as you pop his arm out of place for a moment.
Sorry, man.
But you watch as this mark goes try to move down his arm, but can't move beyond where you're squeezing. And it's weird, because it feels like there's worms underneath his flesh trying to push against your hands while you're holding on to it.
Get this sorted out.
And after time passes, it feels like minutes, Crystal and Naomi come running up just as you watch whatever's in his arm stop moving and slowly start to fade down into his skin, as the symbol of what looks like two yellow eyes within a oval-shaped head slowly moves up to underneath his palm and stops moving.
We good now?
Minus my arm, but yes.
Can I stop applying pressure, or you still need me to do that?
Yes, please. Stop.
Alright. Do you want me to pop your arm back into place?
He gives you like a half-hearted, yeah. Roll stabilize.
Actually, maybe when I manage to do that, I'll probably end up tearing something.
He just gestures with his good arm for you to come in.
What happened?
Not too sure yet. Just pop his arm back into place.
Please.
Quicker the better.
Okay.
As you give him a look and tell him, it's like, alright, brace yourself. I'm gonna do it at 3. 1, as you snap his arm back in place. It's like, ah! Ah! He starts to put his hand onto his shoulder.
You want some water or anything?
I want to be able to keep it down.
Fair enough.
To answer your question, Shadow Man.
Shadow Man?
Don't know what that is.
Good. As he leans back into the bed, rubbing his eyes. Or the cot.
Something we should be worried about?
He would shake his head now. I have it under control.
Don't want to be rude or anything, but it didn't look like it.
It's now under control.
And not gonna happen again?
It shouldn't. This is the first time he's had activity in a while. I don't know what riled him up.
I hope so. Don't think Echo would be very happy if you got yourself hurt like that. Just after finding you.
He nods as he lays back down. So who are you?
Well, my name's Vedran. Me and Adsay were the ones who found you in your little hole. Well, Adsay found the hole, and I put light on the hole, which found you at the bottom. So I went down, and got you out of there, and we took you, back to the camp, and you were pretty much unconscious the whole time. Do you know how you got there?
I was being chased. And didn't see it in the nights and fell.
Right, well, at least you're... suppose you're in friendly hands now.
Where's my son?
He's gone off ahead to go contact the town or village or wherever it is we're going to. He'll be alright.
Can I rest, please, then?
I'm sure if you want. I was only coming in to say hi, but I wasn't exactly expecting this.
Just if you hear whispers in your head, don't always be so quick to listen to them.
Yeah, well, suppose I'll keep that in mind.
Even if they're your own.
Alright.
As he leans his head back in, breathes in a couple of times. Crystal standing next to there, and Naomi kind of looking through the tarp as everything went down.
Sure you didn't want, like, anything to eat?
This one's been doing well to make sure that I stayed nourished. Crystal, was it?
Yes.
I'll be fine. He seems to have gone down now.
Alright.
Do you need anything else, Mr. Akko's dad?
May I knock? No. I just need to rest. So next time this happens, I'll be at my full strength.
Alright. Well, suppose I'll leave you the rest. I mean, once you're better, feel free to come out, say hi.
He'd make a nod. And, like, looking towards Naomi, who, next to Naomi, is also Farah. You watch as he brings up one of his hands and begins to sign something in hope, which she gives off a small smile. Before tilting his head back, looking upwards, and closing his eyes, breathing in heavily.
Well, I suppose let's leave him to it then. And I'll leave the cart.
Yeah, I'd give him one more look over, make sure he's all right, and I'd begin to leave as well.
Yeah, you all leave and meet up outside of the cart.
Oh, something. Farah left as well.
Farah would be around you guys.
So you were right up until that point.
She begins to take out her notebook and write. Yeah, it was strange. It happened just a few minutes ago. He was screaming that he doesn't want him. Something like that.
Nothing seemed to make it happen.
She shakes her head no.
What exactly happened? What is this Shadow Man?
He seemed to just have some weird dark stuff go up his arm, down his arm.
Could I roll anything to see if I would know anything about that?
Do you have knowledge religion?
I do not.
Do you have knowledge Shadow Man religion?
I do not.
Do you have knowledge anything for this something that's here?
Could it be Arcana?
No.
Then no. I'm fucked. Never mind.
Seems to have you as baffled as everyone else. It was really scary. I'm glad you guys came back.
Me too. Are you okay, Farah?
For the most part. I'm just glad someone didn't die in my bed. What?
Hopefully that never happens.
Hopefully. What happened to you guys? You look terrible.
Oh, we had to run away from a lot of things and then fight a really big thing.
Is everybody okay?
Yeah.
What about them? Are they going to be a problem in the future?
Well,
Or whatever you fought?
they were taken care of.
She kind of
Listen,
gives,
guys.
she kind of gives a soft smile at that. Well then, I'm gonna go see if Yaji has any more clue on if we're gonna be able to move or not.
She'll nod.
She'd give you a soft hug before leaving. And give Vedran a nod.
As she starts to leave, and I'll be like, I don't think I've ever really talked to her properly.
You haven't?
Not properly, no. He's been around, but I've no idea what a deal is.
Well, maybe you should talk to her. I'm sure she'd like that.
I also need to talk to Echo. Nobody talked to him either.
Right.
There's a lot of people I haven't talked to, actually.
I need to talk to Akko when he gets back.
Oh yeah, what's that?
I just need to tell him something.
Something important?
Everything alright?
Oh yeah, I just don't want him left out of the loop is all.
I'll inform him on that. I mean, you know you don't have to if you don't want to.
But it feels wrong that everybody knows except for him.
I mean, yeah. Like, if that's how you feel, go ahead, but, like, don't feel forced into it.
No, I trust Akko. I want him to know.
Alright? If that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to Etsy.
Fair enough.
I'll go over there and keep an eye on him as well.
Suppose I'll go see what's going on with the Garnox then.
So as you all begin to split up and head to your separate paths, we are actually going to call it here because I had to use a restroom really bad and we're technically running a little late over. So, thank you all for watching. This has been Allies of Justice, week 33. The best week. Remember, you can watch Allies of Justice every Friday at 10:35 a.m. CST. We go on for approximately 3.5 hours or so. You can follow me at Nightxgamer at YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Patreon. And on Patreon, you can go on there and get involved in helping this game be a thing. We've been working on it for the past... Well, we've been working on it in open alpha for a couple of years now, but it's been going on for much, much longer than that. And with your help, if you choose to help, hopefully we can get this game released so it can be in public and get all the things done, like character art, book art, getting the book done and whatnot. So, it's a progression, but aside from that, thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you next week for the continuation for week 34. So, see you guys next time. Peace.